Hello, fellow traders everywhere. Adam Hewison here, co-founder of MarketClub, with your midday market update for Monday, the 19th of March. Well, it's an Apple world. Shorter lines, higher expenses, a stock buyback, and a dividend. It's all part of Apple's world this morning. Can this juggernaut be stopped? Well, we'll be taking a close look at Apple and seeing what we think on this market. And also, crude oil trades over $108 a barrel. We show you where this market is headed in today's video. In today's winning and losing sectors, we had quite a few markets that started out a little bit softer but actually picked up during the day. We'll also be looking at three stocks on the move today. One is United States Steel. I love the name there. Citigroup and United Parcel Service, which purchased a company in Europe today, TNT, making United Parcel Service the biggest packaging company, delivery company in the world. So let's get started. We'll go right to our portfolios, but first, if you haven't joined us, so you're not going to join us, time is running out. March 27th to the 30th, just outside of Salt Lake City. We're going to put on our Market Club Investor Survey right here. You can see that, and we'd love to have you join us. And certainly, if you're calling from overseas, you know what to call. The number is 1-801-341-3981. Extension 10234, and of course, if you're calling locally toll-free in the States, it's 877-219-1482. We'd love to have you join us. I'll be there. I'd like to meet you, and we'll be talking about the markets and how we can improve your trading in 2012 and for the rest of your life. We'll show you the tools and the techniques that are needed to be a super trader. So let's get started. Look forward to seeing you at Salt Lake City. But let's look, first of all, in the markets. And we're starting off with, obviously, we've got a very strong equity market. Once again, the Dow is up, as is the NASDAQ and the S&P. We also had the S&P close last week over 1,400, which is a good sign. And we're also seeing some other interesting markets on the move today. So let's go to our portfolio manager. Starting, as always, with the S&P 500 cash, you can see the first three are plus 100, meaning a strong trend is in place. And there's not much to say about that. We're going to look at it really quickly and just get a glimpse of where we stand. And you can see the market's just up, positive, positive, positive. Really no kind of reversal at all in this market. And it's just doing super, super well. You can see our last buy point was 1378. We're currently trading at 1411. Long-term traders, I'll put this in over here, along from 1292, over 100 and almost 120 points profit in the S&P. That's the first signal we had, which is way, way back here on January 10th. So we got the new start of the new year in a really positive fashion. So let's go back to our portfolio, and let's look at silver. We'll bypass the Dow and the NASDAQ. We're bullish on these markets. We'll think they're going to be stronger until May or even June. So we got a 1,500 target on the S&P 500, and higher levels, of course, on these two here. But let's take a look at silver. Silver is actually a plus 55, which indicates a trading range. And it's interesting, if you look at the chart, it looks to me as though this little blip up here is going to run out of steam. And I think that's the key thing to look at. And so that's how we see this market right now, and just turning back down. And I think it's very similar to this formation right here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 days up, maybe 5 days, and then you start going down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we'll start going back down again later in the week. So let's go to our next market, and that's going to be gold, and we're going to be looking at gold, and we've got a minus 75, so we know the trend there is. Let me just put my little tools up here so we can get everything on the screen for you. And we just get everything cleaned up. There we go. So again, this is a gold, very similar pattern. You sort of had a little bit of a rally from these levels here, and then boom down. I think it's a very similar pattern. Boom, it's going to go down. We're looking at the 1620 level, which is a 61.8% Fibonacci retracement. So that's a fib retrace. And I think this 1620 level will be an interesting level to do. We may actually go to the 1600, go a little extended on the downside, but we're expecting this market to be on the defensive for the balance of the year. So let's clear all, and let's go to our next market. And the next market we're looking at is going to be We'll go back to our portfolio manager because we've changed these around a bit. Copper is actually putting in a really good performance today. It's up about 0.5%. We got a plus 75, so it's an emerging trend. But this is what I'm looking for in copper is, let me just move this over here like that, and let's just get a drawing tool on here. But this to me looks as though we're just sort of building this energy field to go higher. And this, of course, if you just draw this line, I'm just going to draw right across here. I would say probably between, the key level is between 395 and 4. If we can get the market over 4 and closing over there, certainly 395 would be a big step. But I think generally speaking, the trend is your friend. We think this market's going higher, and you can see the plus on the monthly. Only one negative right now is the weekly, which is a little bit creating this sort of emerging trend strategy. But generally speaking, we like the way this market is acting, and I would say we get a nice close today. Let's say even over the 390 level, I would consider that to be a positive for this market. So let's go back to our tools and our portfolio and take a look at what we're looking at next is the big market, which is the crude oil market. Now, crude oil traded over 108 today in the April contract. It's a plus 75. This, to me, has a tremendous potential. The key thing is if we can close this market over 108 today. So I think we're seeing something along those lines potentially. But generally speaking, we think this is sort of a move to go higher. But if we were to close today, move this up here, and this is a blue line, of course, and close up here like that on a Western chart and just a solid blue line for a Japanese candlestick chart, I think we'd see this market really begin to pop this week. And again, what we were looking at before was the cyclic low here, and I think this goes back to around here. So generally speaking, the windows between these two is almost identical, and every time you've had a move up, that's been quite substantial. We're looking for a target of 120 to 125, and that's basis the April contract. And of course, we'll be rolling out of the April into the next month when we feel that the time is right. And we're getting close to that time now. So let's see how this market works out. But generally speaking, it closed over 108. We're about 43 cents away. Today would be, I would view as very, very positive for this market. So stay tuned on that one. So let's go back to our portfolio, and we'll take a look at that. The next market is going to be the euro. And this is a little bit disappointing on the dollar index because we were expecting this market to actually perform a little better, but it's actually down today. If you remember, we talked about this pattern last week, and that was the dark cloud cover, which is right here. It was very close to being a negative engulfing line. However, it was confirmed the next day with a very sharp down day. This is Friday, of course, and of course today we're down as well. But generally speaking, with candlestick charts, you need to have usually a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, 4 days of confirming signals to make sure they made the turn. Here's a good one, a good example of a bullish engulfing line, this line right here, and it was closed higher the next day, which is a confirmation. Of course, then the market just took off. So again, you have to look at confirmations of candlesticks together to get a really strong feeling for this. Very, very powerful charting program. It's all I look at right now. Well, I should say it's mainly what I look at because I used to look at Western style charts. In Western style charts, you even have them on MarketClub if that's more your thing. And that's the key there would be just this little right here. And let me just put the, there we go. Hold on, let me get this right. So there's a Western style charts. As you can see, you get really just the information that you want, but you don't get the visualization. And I think sometimes that's very important. Just to give you an idea, usually on our Western charts, it shows you where they open, like this little, like here, and where they close. So you get this simple line up. Same thing here, where they open, close here, open here. So the open's always going to be on the left-hand side, and the close is going to be on the right-hand side as you look at the chart. So open here, right here, and close down here. So anyway, that's the Western style charts. Generally speaking, I like to look at the equivalent, which is obviously the Japanese candlestick charts, which I think are very powerful and very easy to understand and read just visually. Boom, there you have it. Just it tells you right away that the red candle tells you when it's closing lower, indicates obviously the market opened higher and closed on its lows. Vice versa for the blue, open on the lows, closed on the highs. Just a very simple visual way of charting. Really like that. So let's go to our next market. The next market we're going to be looking at is going to be the Reuters Jeffries Index, which I think is going to be, well, we've just looked at that. Let me just change that around. I'm sorry, we were giving it a lesson in candlestick charts, but let's take a look at Citigroup. Citigroup is a big mover today. It's up 4.2%. Now, if you remember, everybody hated the financials, hated the bank stocks. What happened? Well, like everything else in life, markets do change, and you have to be able to change with them. And as you can see, from 32.09, we had a major signal on February 2nd, that's not so long ago, to be a buyer at 32.09. Of course, the market moved up, sort of had a sideways move, but it had a huge move today. So you've got about over $6 profit, over 20% profit in this market in just a little over a month, which is excellent return on capital. Going to our next market, and that's Morgan Stanley, of course, in the financial sector again. And here you are. We had a buy signal last on the 15th, which is Thursday, at 19.53. The market's up a little bit, about 70 cents, but nonetheless, there was a monthly buy at 18.88. You can see it right here, indicating that the trend was up. And of course, you had an opportunity to buy it at a lower level should you want to purchase that stock at the pullback. But again, this tells you the market's going up and the trending is in place for the stock. So anyway, United Parcel Service, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, basically purchased another company. You can see where we have been long from 72.04. We have to go quite a bit. We'll have to go back a little further to show you that. Here's the buy signal. This is on December 2nd at 72.04. And you can see how the market's trading at 81.11. We had a buy signal last week on 3/12, March 12th. And that's almost exactly a week ago. And at 77.42. And that's the great thing about the trade trials. They're not going to get you in necessarily the very bottom of the move or the top of the, get you out at the top of the move, but you're going to catch the fat part of the move, and that's where you really make your big money. So let's go to our next market. And the next market we're going to be looking at is United States Steel, symbol X. I love the symbol for that stock. And it's doing very, very well. We have plus 100, as you can see. And all of our trade triangles are green from 29.23 right here on the 25th of January. And, of course, here at 29.36, that was another buy signal we had because we had an exit signal right here. So, again, it's all about timing and catching the moves when they occur. So we're not so far from a new all-time high, or no, a new high for the year, I should say, in this stock. So let's see what is going on with Apple. That's the big market. That's the mega market. That's the juggernaut of stocks. And that's up 2.32%. The question I have, I think a lot of people have, I was telling Jeremy, who we do the show with on Wednesdays rather, I said I was driving up last week on Friday, and I called the Apple store in Annapolis, and I said, do you have any iPads, the new iPads? And they actually said, yep, we have them. Come on in. I was, one, astounded that, one, they had them, hadn't sold out of them, and two, that actually somebody picked up the phone at what should have been a very, very busy time for Apple. So today, Apple announces a $10 billion stock buyback. They also come in and they are going to be given a dividend of $2.65. So what else can happen to Apple? I mean, sooner or later, the competition is coming in. I know the arguments, well, they've got the ecosystem, they have all these other things. Yes, they have a lot of things going for them, no question about it. But hasn't the stock reflected that? I mean, what has really changed in 2012? I mean, the market has gone from 400 to 600, let's say. And is it warranted? I think you've got to look at the markets themselves. And this, sooner or later, every stock, including Apple, I'm a huge fan of Apple, will have a downturn. It's happened before. They can just miss on one thing. Somebody can come out with something else that mimics them or does something else. But they do have a great hold on the market. No question about it. And the trend, quite frankly, is up. I mean, there's no question about it. You may get a pullback. But this is an interesting thing. We have been unable so far today to crack the 600 level. We got very, very close. I think we got to 600 even, but we didn't make a new high. I think just missed it. So this is going to be a little bit concerning. I would like to see it close over 600, because that takes the bugaboo of this down day here out of the equation. But let's just take a look at how it's been trading for most of the day with our intraday charts, and we have these on MarketClub. And I'll just look at a 15-minute chart, because we haven't been trading so long today. And as you can see, we're looking at a 5-day move in Apple, and as you can see, we've traded up, and we're at a level right here, this sort of 600 level, which is potentially creating resistance. If it goes over there, then it's off to the races. We'll probably have another move up to this 620 level. But generally speaking, I don't know what news could possibly come out. It was kind of amazing they announced the news, particularly in light of the fact they launched the iPad on Friday. So it seems they should have used some of the glitz on that to get more stuff going for them. But they announced the buyback and the dividend today, all of which were somewhat expected. No really big surprises there. But really the market hasn't done as much as I think everybody thought it would do. So that was the initial surge, and it's really kind of stayed there. So we'll see how it plays out. This is Adam Hewison for MarketClub. If you have a chance, come and visit us for our MarketClub Investors Summit at the end of this month, the 27th to the 30th. We'd love to see you there. You can give us a call toll free at 1-877-219-1482, extension 10234, or give us a call if you're overseas or watching this in Canada. Give us a call at our international number, 1-801-341-3981, extension 10234. I'm Adam Hewison for MarketClub. Have a successful trading day.